Hello everyone, I'm Danny Stephen from MakeUseOf.com, and today we'll be taking a look at the BiggiFi Android Smart Stick. Now, what is an Android Smart Stick? Well, think of a computer, except that it runs Android as its operating system, and then shrink it down to a size of this stick, which is, as a reference point, a little bit larger than a Chromecast. So what this means, especially since you can plug it into a TV, is that you can basically have a miniature Android computer attached to your TV, which also means that you can run whatever Android apps on it that you want. Sounds pretty cool? Well, it definitely seems interesting, but in order to find out whether it's worth purchasing, we have to take a closer look. So like I mentioned earlier, the BiggiFi is basically an Android smart stick, and you can tell this very easily as soon as you take the cap off. Here you have an HDMI connector that goes into the TV, and over here you have the micro USB port which you plug into to power the device. So the other side goes either into a power supply or into the TV if the TV has a USB port. Now here you also have a full-sized USB port which you can use to connect just about whatever you want to it. Such as extra storage, or, which will probably happen more commonly, a mouse, probably a wireless mouse, just so you can use your mouse wherever you want and not be tied close to the TV. And here you also have a micro SD card slot to further expand the storage, which is actually pretty important because there's only, I think, about a gigabyte of storage on this, so there aren't that many apps that you can install on it without putting some extra storage in there. Down here you have some holes for ventilation, and that's about it. So setting up the BiggiFi to connect to your home network is actually pretty straightforward so long as it works. You turn on the BiggiFi and it will show you a screen which will tell you to download the BiggiFi app onto your smartphone and then run the smartphone app, which will guide you through the setup process. And during that process, you can also choose whether you just want to connect directly to the BiggiFi without the BiggiFi having access to your Wi-Fi, or you can set it up to use your home Wi-Fi, which will also give it internet access. Once you have successfully completed all of that, you will see this screen. And as you can see, it is very much like basic Android. There's pretty much no modifications whatsoever. It's just a very straightforward Android setup where you have a bunch of apps, and here I'm currently controlling it using a wireless mouse with the receiver plugged into the USB port on the BiggiFi. But as you can see, there you have all your apps. You can add more in the Play Store. There is, though, not that much space. Like I said, to be more exact, let's see exactly how much space it has. And it is 1.44 gigabytes. Some of it is also taken by the system, so you have approximately 1 gigabyte of free space available. So, as you can see, it's very straightforward, which can be good. But I do wish that there was a custom interface just to make things a little bit easier, because right now it doesn't look very polished. I just can't say that looks very polished. But here, as you can see, so sound works too. But I just turned on Angry Birds Space just to show you the performance of the BiggiFi, which is actually pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised by the performance, although I do have to note that this is currently running at 720p. My TV doesn't support 1080p, so I can't check the performance for that resolution, but at 720p the device does actually work very well. I have no complaints there whatsoever. So, would I recommend purchasing the BiggiFi? Actually, not really. And through the review, you probably kind of figured out why this is the case. But just to reiterate, it does have a lot of potential. but there are plenty of flaws with it to where it's just not worth getting. Hopefully when those flaws get fixed, it would be worth purchasing, but for the time being, it really isn't. So flaws that I had with it was that it ran a really old version of Android. I would have expected at least Android 4.2, if not something newer than that. There are also plenty of Wi-Fi issues that I had to where I couldn't connect to it with my phone, or it wouldn't connect to my Wi-Fi network, and just things like that. It was very terrible to deal with the Wi-Fi. And lastly, just there wasn't a lot of polish, so pretty much it was a very slimmed down basic version of Android, which in some respects is good. I have a Nexus phone, and so I love this very clean interface that Nexus phones have. But for this device, I can't help but feel like it should have had more than just a simple app that all it did was show a screen with instructions on how to set it up and get it connected to your home Wi-Fi. I would have expected at least some extra effort, maybe a customized user interface, which makes using the device a lot easier, with possibly the option to keep the slimmed down, very basic interface that it did have. But just, I feel like it's trying to create a name for itself, and right now it just behaves more like a generic device. So it definitely needs to work on all of those things, and then maybe later on it could definitely be worth buying. But for the full review, please head over to makeuseof.com and don't forget to enter the giveaway so that you can still win this. Thanks for watching.